In this video, we're going over how to solve for x, and I'm going to use the don't call me after midnight steps. So we can see on the right over here that I have my steps for don't call me after midnight. So it starts with distributing, and then combine like terms, move the variable, add and subtract, and then multiply, divide. It's kind of like PEMDAS or GEMDAS, where you might not have all the steps every time. You just kind of go down the list and start with whatever one that you have. So when I'm solving this equation, first thing I like to do is I put a line down the middle of my equal sign, so it's kind of like the two sides of the mat. All right, so let me go through and start doing the steps. So distribute, multiply the number outside the parentheses by everything inside. So I can see right here that I have distributing because I have a number that's right in front of the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute. Remember, distribute just means multiply that number out front by everything inside. So 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times -5, because this is -5, is -10. And then the x just comes down because I didn't distribute that. And then on the other side, there was no distributing, so I'm just going to bring it down. Okay, so cross out D, I'm done with that one. Next one is combine like terms on the same side of the equation. So for this one, you're only able to combine stuff that's on the same side of the equal sign. So if I just start by looking over here, I want to see on that side what I can combine, and I can see that here I have 2x and x, so I'm going to combine those. So with x, there's an invisible 1 in front, so 2x plus 1x is 3x, and then that minus or -10 is just going to come straight down. And on the other side, I see that I have a 7 and a -1, so 7 plus -1 is 6, and then the plus 5x just comes down. Okay, so that's done. Next one is move the variable with a smaller coefficient using inverse operations. So remember, coefficient just means the number in front of the variable. So I have a coefficient right here. That one is 3. And the coefficient right here is 5 because it's the number in front of the variable. So if I'm looking at which one is smaller, so 3 is smaller than 5. So that's the one I want to move to the other side. And it says move the variable with the smaller coefficient using inverse operations. Remember, inverse operations means like the opposite. So if I have adding, the opposite is subtracting. And the same thing is true backwards. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. And then with multiplication, the opposite is division. And then again, the same thing is true backwards. The opposite of division is multiplication. Okay, so it said move the smaller coefficient, so that's 3x. And I'm going to do it using inverse operations. So because this is positive 3x, the opposite of positive 3x is negative 3x. Remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So I'm going to put it under the 5x because I want to put my like terms together. So when I do this, 3x minus 3x is 0. So we're just making 0 pairs. The -10 comes straight down. And then the 6 comes straight down. And then 5x plus -3x, or 5 minus 3, would be 2x. So I'm done with move variable. So again, I wanted to move the variables so that they're all on the same side. So now all the x's are on the right side. All right, next one. Add and subtract. Use inverse operations to move all units to one side. So again, I have inverse operations. So it says move all units to one side. So my units are either going to be the 6, or my units are 6 and -10. So we have to decide, do I want to move the 6 onto this side? Whoops. Or do I want to move the -10 onto this side? Well, we want to get the variable by itself. So because 2x is over here, I want to keep this here. I want to move the 6 over here somehow. And it says to do that using inverse operations. So again, this is positive 6. So the opposite of positive 6 is -6. I do the same thing on both sides. So -10 plus -6 is -16. This is a 0 pair, so it goes away. And that equals 2x. So again, I move the 6 onto the other side because now I have 2x by itself. And the goal is that we get just x by itself. Okay, so A is done. Last step, multiply, divide. Use inverse operations to get the variable by itself. Okay, so again, we have inverse operations. Okay, so this one, what is happening to x? So this is 2 times x. Remember, anytime that there's a number next to a variable, that means multiply. So right here, I'm doing 2 multiplied by x. So the opposite of multiplication is division, like I can see up here. So the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. And again, we always do the same thing on both sides. Negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so those cancel out. And I'm just left with x. So that would be our final answer. So again, I just went through the steps. It really helps if you have your handout for Don't Call Me After Midnight, so you can just kind of go through the steps as you go.